Mic test 3 4. Okay, let's check. Toby, what's up? Always the early comer. How's it going? Let me just check my stuff. All right, perfect. All right, looks like we're good. How's it going, Toby? Nice to have you here today. And beyond Toby, welcome to another session of the Sum of the More Life Experience. It's been a minute or two, or more like a week or two. I'm another comment of the chat. Hi, Jennifer. How's it going? It's been a week or two, actually 2 weeks. So before I continue, before I even get into anything, what happened? Why did I run away from the eye of the public? Samuel Sherry, thank you. That's not what I'm going for, but yeah, that works. The real secret is I haven't had my hair cut, so I'm looking for a way to keep it from the public. Anyway, so 2 weeks ago, what happened? Yeah, I think we went somewhere and we didn't come back home early. Went to see some friends. We didn't come back home early, and I just wasn't prepared. So I just decided not to do that session then. And funny how the people we went to see, by the next weekend, uh, my friend just texted me and said, "Hey, bro, we're already at the hospital." He said he was alone. I'm like, "Man, you shouldn't be alone." Long story short, my friend's wife was gave birth last Sunday, so you should know it. This is the other messaging. Maybe he wants to tell me my camera is not good. Maybe I don't put my camera well. It's always wondering me. Long story short, if you ask me for location in the DM and you ask nicely, I can give you location. Yeah, it's a naming ceremony on Sunday. Anyway, that has passed. Let's focus on the now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode or another session of the Summer of Life Experience. And as I have put up on all the broadcasts I've sent about this, today we're talking about something that is a little, well, everything I teach here is there to my house. So I don't know why I always say that. Give me a second. I just want to put up the banner once more in case anybody missed it. It is called Drift or Build. How to make the best use, how to get the best out of your first 5 years after school. Build or drift. How to make the most out of your first 5 years after school. All of it is going to make sense soon. But to give you, I always tell you guys how everything comes about. I was having a conversation with somebody that I would say I sort of mentor, and from that conversation, I could feel the pain that she was going through, the confusion and everything, and it made me remember myself. And I just realized that I think I left school 2019, so it's just I was going to say just 6 years. It's been 7 years. Wow, that makes me feel old. By the way, how's my okay? My sound is good. I tested it earlier. All right, so I left school 7 years ago. Wow, and um, when I left school, I remember having a plan for myself and what the next 5 years of my life is going to be like. Some of it I did, some of it I didn't do. But I've also noticed a pattern. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I've also noticed a pattern of how um, my friends, my colleagues, there's a certain pattern of certain kind of people tend to do certain things well. And not even just my colleagues, people that have gone way before me, they tend to do certain things well. There's an echo. Oh, really? Am I sure I'm using the right mic? Let me make sure. Oh, I'm not using the right mic. Thank you for that, Della. Am I using the right mic? What happened? 1 second, guys. Let me make sure that everything is working well. Am I using the right mic? Nah, I'm using the good. It's not about my media police is here. It's not about the fan. Am I using the right mic? Let me stop. Give me a second, guys. I don't know. It's giving me a bit of an issue to switch the mic, but there's an echo, and I don't want to keep that up. Mm, 1 second. Guys, if I'm going to do this, let's do it the right way. We might have to use a different link. I have to leave the studio and come back because I'm using the wrong mic. Please bear with me. I'll send you a link on WhatsApp right now. I gotta leave. Give me a second. Give me a minute, rather. It turns out I didn't have to go log out and back in. Yeah, it should be better now, guys, right? I thought I had to cancel the live session. Waiting for you guys' feedback before I start continuing my yapping. Wait, let me just text this guy to know if it's all good. You have to leave it like that to Yola. You know, vex. Okay, how's the sound, guys? Leave it in the comments. So let me just text or test myself. Sorry for the breaking transmission. Let me test it myself. Sorry, somebody texted. All right, it sounds like it is good. Let us run with it. Adjusting the video, just need to adjust the audio a little bit. Sorry, one more second. Where's the audio? All right. I think we're good now. Now I lost my train of thoughts. Where was I again? I think I was just talking about how I came about this, but let's just get into it. I'll come around to that. So I found necessity in having this conversation. In case you're joining, I was just giving an introduction on what we're talking about today. Text me on WhatsApp, Deola. Everything is good, right? When it comes to sound. Just because if I'm not sure it's all good. If I'm not sure it's all good, I may not be able to flow as much as I want to flow. Yes, the fan is on. Is it disturbing? I have turned off the fan. It better be good. I need to continue like this. Anyway, so why was this conversation necessary? Build or drift? How to make the best out of the first 5 years after school. I found that period is a period of high importance for almost anyone. I've noticed that I need to mute my notifications. I've noticed that people that make the best use of that period of time usually tend to build some sort of momentum that makes other steps super easy for them. Right? I noticed that there is some sort of disconnect between the process of going to school and the realities of life. There's something that people like to say that I don't agree with. People tend to say something like school na scam. School does not prepare you for the realities of the real world. But I don't think that is true. I think school does prepare you for life. Maybe the academic part not so much, in the sense that, let's say, I don't know, the curriculum is
outdated or whatever. You've heard stories of people that are doing like computer science, that they are coding on paper or something, or whatever it is. But if you notice or if you pay attention, you notice that every school, at least university, polytechnic, wherever it is, every school has a sort of ecosystem of its own. And that ecosystem sort of mirrors what you'll experience in real life. The only problem is nobody teaches any of us how to translate the process of schooling into the realities of the outside world. So most people tend to get out and just start to figure it out all over again. You understand? I believe, or at least the way I approached it after school was, I just decided to assume that I was a fresher at life all over again, a freshman, a 100 level student all over again at life. And I just told myself in my mind that over the next 5 years, I want to basically feel like I have completed a new degree or a new system or a new, should I say, learning process. Anyway, so um, another peculiar thing is because of two things, extreme speed of development and extreme overwhelm of distractions. Um, I found that when people come out of school, uh, forget the fact that we can argue that the curriculums are outdated and whatnot. What seems relevant or what was relevant 10 months ago or even as a January is no longer relevant now. So people's heads tend to spin. What you think your job was supposed to look like, what you think is supposed to be what you use to make a living and whatnot, ends up not being looking the same as what you expected it to be. Even if you go and pick up a skill, do whatever it is that you want to do, you find out that hey, they just released this AI model that's it can do this thing or it can do that thing, and there's a new way of doing it. That is something else I'm going to touch on. But all of these things put together tend to create a certain level of anxiety and a certain level of confusion of I don't know what to do next with my life. That is the summary of it. Most people after school, the biggest scare that they have is I don't know what to do next with my life. They don't feel prepared. And then there's the overwhelm of distractions. Distraction does not necessarily mean you can be somebody that you don't even have Netflix, you don't do TikTok, you don't do this, you don't do that, and you can still be distracted because I read a statistic one time and they said that, one second, yes, it is disturbing. Man, Diola will not let me rest today. Is it that bad? Just text me, is it that bad? I read a statistic and the statistic said that the average um, 2 year old, or let's say 5 year old, I don't remember the exact number, the average 5 year old has more information available to them right now than when, has more information available to them than Einstein had during his time. Get it? An average 5 year old child has more information available than the supposed smartest man or smartest scientist that ever lived. And how does that look like when you just leave, school and you enter into what they call the labor market? Thank you, Diola. Diola has finally cleared me to go on. Let's clap for Diola for being a support, annoying support sometimes, but whatever. Now I've lost my train of thought. I really should just stop sidetracking. So I was talking about the fact that 5 years old and Einstein. So what does that mean for you as you're leaving school? As you're leaving school, why are you trying to figure out where you fit in this world? There are so many opportunities your head will spin. I don't know, right? You don't know the one to choose. You don't know what to commit to. You don't want to waste time because there's now another set of pressure. The pressure to get it right as quickly as what social media is portraying. I'm not about to get into the rant of people are only posting the best reels of their life. We all know that, but instinctively we know it, but we never really pay attention to it. We still fall for that trap and we still pressure ourselves. We still compare. I even do it. We still compare ourselves with people that are in like their 100th step when you are just taking your second step. But the most important thing for me to tell you when it comes to this part is that I'm a marketer, and let me tell you something for free, right? The job of most marketers is not to help you transform your life, or the job of most people selling things online or selling opportunities to you It's not to help you transform your life. Even the ones that are the most ethical, their job is to get your attention and make you feel like this thing that you want to watch right now, or this thing that you want to look at right now, is the number one solution to all your problems. That is the only way they can captivate your attention. That is the only way they can get you interested enough. Now, if everybody is doing that to you, how do you know the one that is supposed to actually change your life? Discernment. How do you know the one that is supposed to be for you? You need discernment. You will not get discernment from noise. More noise will not give you discernment. Having a way of thinking, having a way to determine clarity for yourself will. And that is what I'm hoping to help you out here, you know, with this particular session and any other episodes we're going to have around it. So I think this is important because, like I've said, I strongly believe that your first 5 years after school will determine if you drift and struggle for the next 5 years, or you build momentum for global growth for the next 5 years of your life. Now, when I say global growth, I don't mean you're now a superstar that is going from the US to the UK to Canada and whatnot. What I mean by global growth is growth in every area of your life, a 360 growth. I believe that when you get the first 5 years after school right, you would have built enough momentum for you to now spread that growth into other areas of your life. However, if you miss it, I'm not God. I'm not saying that if anybody misses it, it's over. That is not true. We have stories of people that still got started and turned things around in their life in their 40s, 50s, and whatnot. But what I'm saying is it is the most easiest for you if you take hold of that time. And that is what I'm hoping to help you get today, right? So I'm still establishing the problems here just so you can, I'm trying to relate what I am thinking to what possibly you're going through. And hopefully you see yourself in the stories that I'm going to tell you. You feel like you can learn something from it. So one of the key problems I've found for most people after leaving school, and I'm going to tell you my story, I just want to prelude with all of this, is people are planning to plan. People spend years trying to figure out how to figure things out. And you look at other people, either your boss, your senior brother, your lecturer, your whoever it is, you look at every other person that they have everything figured out. But the truth of the matter is, no matter what level you are in, you are still trying to figure stuff out, right? Life is a participation sport. You don't sit down in one place and say, by this time I'm going to do so and so. People spend too much time trying to figure out how to figure things out. I don't know how to best explain that for you, but the only another way I can say it is, why do you ever catch yourself planning to plan? What does that look like? Right? There's a difference between, okay, you want to set up a plan for your career growth, or okay, just got a notification. It's all good. It's all clear. Tim, leave me alone. Don't distract me. So I was saying, why are you planning to plan? People tend to plan to plan. You hear something like, I've been planning to learn that, I don't know, let me say digital marketing, because I heard somebody say that. I was on a call with someone yesterday and she said that. I've been planning to learn that digital marketing something. And I heard that it's so, and I want to this. Or maybe you are even more sophisticated. You are past the learning. I've been learning this thing, but I've been planning to look for clients that can pay me. And I've been planning to this. The truth of the matter is, they aren't planning. They are planning to plan. They are just talking about what they are going to be doing. And the reason why is because if we peel back the layers of everything, the truth is, you're just scared. You're scared to engage life. You're scared about what could happen, what could go wrong. And you're scared. I've been saying it several times on these live sessions. One of the things that stops people the most is the fear of looking stupid. You are scared of looking stupid, and it leads to what I call unnecessary delay. People like to run under the umbrella of delay is not denial. Bro, delay is not denial, quite all right. But you might not even be delayed. It might just be you denying yourself. I'll say it again. Delay is not denial, but your own might not be delay. Your own might be you just defining yourself. To define delays, how do I define delay? It doesn't count as delay if you have not done all that you can do. If you don't know what you are to do next, and you are not obsessively trying to seek guidance or knowledge about what you are to do next, that is not delay. It is you denying yourself. You are denying yourself the opportunity to learn, either because you are too scared to ask the people you're supposed to ask, you are too distracted to do the things you need to do. You have 10 things. People always tell another lie and that they don't have the time to do what they want to do. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I think I've said it in one of our live sessions here before. If you really decide, you would act, because the whole idea of acting, the whole idea of decision, if you check the root word of decision, it means to cut off. It means for you to say that you decided to do something, it means you've cut off every other option. Part of cutting off every other option is cutting off distractions. It might mean you have to delete some apps. This is not the main point of this. I don't like to give advice on things like this before people start to say, your own is too much, your own is this, your own is that. There are some times in my life that, as people like to say, I want to lock in. And I just delete all the apps because I know I need to nurse a particular habit for some time so that it can now become something that drives me. Automatically, I go and do this. But that's not where we're going. Let me go back to the point I made. Delay is not denial, quite all right. But sometimes it's not delay. It is just you denying yourself because you're not taking the action you need to take. You're making excuses. While those excuses are true, you don't have the resources, you don't have anybody to teach you, you don't have this, you don't have that, You are still denying yourself because even if you don't know what next to do, you are supposed to be spending that time trying to seek the knowledge and guidance in order to know the next step to do. All you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. Just make sure you're doing all you can do. Now, how do you know that you have put yourself, you are the one denying yourself, and it is not actually delay, right? Again, people like to say delay is not denial. You see, one of the most dangerous things in this life is when there's somebody that they have a lot of quotes. You see, there's any quote, not only quotes, even Bible scriptures of verses of scriptures. If you want verse of scripture that would explain away, there's a verse of scripture or a quote that somebody has, people have said a lot of things over the thousands of years that human beings have been on this planet. If you want, there's always a scripture, a quote, or something philosophical to explain away your excuses, right? Right now, if you want to find the reason why you're broke, you can look for a Bible verse or maybe even the Quran verse that explains it away. But deep down inside you, you know that it is not because of anything. It's not because of that quote. That quote did not lead you there. You were there, then you now want to use the quotes to pad yourself, right? So how do you know that it is you denying yourself? Number one symptom of somebody that is denying themselves and it is not actually delay is all you do is complain. All you do is hang out with people that complain. Let me tell you something that is dangerous about your brain and the brain of all of us. There's something called neuroplasticity. Right? Let me Google. I put it in my notes, but I like to define things as they are. Still laying the foundation, so it might be a little strenuous. We'll get to the fun stuff and some stories soon. Neuroplasticity is the brain's lifelong ability to reorganize its structure, functions, and neural connections in response to learning, experience, or injury. I'll say it again. Neuroplasticity is the brain's lifelong ability to organize its structure, functions, and neural connections in response to learning, experience, or injury. So that's one thing that I just read to you already displaces that excuse that most people like to say, that's just how I am. I've always been this, I've always been that. Maybe that is what you've always been. But the fact that your brain, the way they say it is, your brain is like plastic. It can be molded into different things. Your behavior that comes from this organ called your brain can be morphed into something else because of something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity gives us the opportunity, a chance at becoming everything you want to be. But the danger of neuroplasticity is also that you can become what you don't want to be if that is all you focus on. If you are always complaining about something, it is not swear. That thing is always going to be available for you to complain about. Because without knowing it, you are creating new pathways. You are restructuring your mind, your brain. Your brain physically changes to only think those thoughts. Your brain physically changes to only seek those things out. That thing you're always complaining about, that thing that you're always complaining about is always what you're going to be focusing on. Man, the devil is a liar. Why is everything just seeming to be giving me technical glitches? Why is this light starting to blink like I'm not charging it? Sorry, guys. If it goes off and my face looks a little dark, it's dark. Sorry, Deola, I don't know what's going on tonight, but all the devices seem to be working against me. Pardon me if it makes things difficult for you in post-production. Apologies, but I can't keep stopping my flow. Sorry, my bro. So, it is you denying yourself and there's no real delay. If all you do is complain and all you do is hang out with complainers, that is even worse. If you are just sitting down in your house and you're sitting and crying like, why is my life like this? Why is this? It might not even be as bad as if you now have other people that all you guys. Have you ever noticed that most of the time, if you enter a random place, especially here in Nigeria, if you want to connect with people, the easiest way for you to connect with people is to complain, because there's always something to complain about. If you don't want, just talk about the fact. You can assume that there's no light in one place, or even if you say there's no light in one place, and then they have light, they will now start boasting, we have light, we don't suffer for this country. We have light, but that place, they rob one place for this place. Did you hear one thing they say on Twitter? There's always something to complain about. And because of that, that is all you ever focus on. In this same Nigeria, I'm not trying to make a case for any government or anything. I'm not affiliated with anybody. But in this same Nigeria that you're complaining about, people are doing those things that you want to do. They are making a way for themselves. And even if they are not where they want to be yet, they are making progress. But the only thing you have done progressively is reform and restructure your own brain to only see those things you're complaining about. And because of that, that is what you continue to attract. You hear things like the law of attraction and you think it's some woo-woo, something that motivational speakers say, and it is not real. Science has proven it in neuroplasticity. The more you focus on something, the more your brain, you are rewiring your brain and you are reinforcing neural pathways. Your brain morphs into that thing. You start looking for more of those things. And if what you are looking for, if what you're focusing on is the bad, you will continue to attract the bad. Even if the good is there, you will not see it. Even if something good is there, you will not see it. Even if there's an opportunity, you will not see it because you're too cynical, you're too pessimistic, and it's not your fault. Actually, it started as your fault, but now it's not your fault. Your autopilot, your brain's autopilot mode is complaints. Another symptom that it is you denying yourself is you secretly envy those people that have done well, and you make excuses for why it was easy for them. You don't have any advantage in your own life. Nothing has ever worked for you. But other people are those ones, they have advantage now. There's nothing in this life that has been in your advantage. Not even the fact that you are still breathing. You never see an advantage in anything that you have, anything that you are, anything that you are given. Right? And the truth of the matter is, like they say, it's a skill issue. With what you have, with what you don't have, other people have made what you want happen. But because of your own skill issue and because all you do is complain, so your mind, your brain is morphed to only see situations where you continue to complain, you never grow. And those the people that actually grow, you just explain it away. Their brother helped them now. He has always had a good voice. That Samuel that is always doing live session. The reason why he's now so popular is because he has one black cap that people tend to like. It's like everybody likes that black cap. That's why people now like to listen to him. People make the weirdest excuses, man. Especially, okay, I won't say that because it might just come off rude. But one of the ways that you are the one causing your own delay, it is not actual delay, it is you denying yourself, is you secretly envy those who have done well and you make excuses for why it was easy for them. Even if it was easy for them, their own, what they eat won't make you purge. Pardon me for being so, should I say, is it explicit or how do they say it? What they eat will not turn your own stomach, right? That's their own. If it was easy for them, cool. How can you make yours work? That's where your focus should be on. Another symptom that it is you causing your delay, or that is denying yourself and is not actually delay, is you just one day, you just want to blend in, you just want to seek approval of people who are slowly becoming a name in your past. These things I'm saying can pretty much work for anybody in any stage of life, but I'm probably directing it to people that have just finished school, because this is another trap that people fall for. You leave school and you're still trying to be cool to your classmates. You leave school and you are still secretly watching what other people are doing to give yourself permission to do something as well, because you're still sort of seeking approval. Truth of the matter is, think about it. When you left secondary school, how many of the people that you left the school with were you still friends with 3 years later? You might still be friends with them, but how strongly do you value their opinion till now? Chances are it's not as strong as it was when you guys were together. So you blend in, you just want to blend in, you just want to seek approval, or you just want to do what every other person is doing so that you are not the odd one out. And because whatever it is that everybody is doing is not entirely for you, you are denying yourself of the opportunity to discover what is for you and to give your all into it. My own take is this: if you do not let go of lying to yourself that the life that you say you dream of or the life that you want for yourself is not something that you actually truly desire, it's just one of those things that you're thinking about. If you do not stop complaining and hanging out with complainers, if you do not stop making excuses for why you remain where you are, and if you keep seeking validation, you're going to miss this window, very important window for you, to aggressively build what would basically give you momentum for the rest of your life. Your goal in this time of the 5 years out, your 5 years after school, like I called it, build or drift, is to put as much value in yourself as possible, even if it does not yet translate into physical currency yet. I don't want to go into another tangent, but I believe there's physical currency and there's spiritual currency. Spiritual currency is not what you're thinking it is. I'm not talking about speaking in tongues or whatever it is that you're thinking it is. Spiritual currency includes building relationships. What I mean is there's a certain kind of attractiveness you have, or there's a way that people can be endeared to you such that they just want to help you because of who you are and because of the way you carry yourself. And if you've been following my teachings for a while, you know that the way I define spiritual, I've defined it here before, is things that are not seen, things that are not tangible. There's a tangible realm, which is the physical realm, and there's a spiritual realm, which is the unseen realm, right? So your attractiveness, your aura, I know they say something like aura for aura. Aura for aura is not only that you be getting people up and down. You can have the kind of aura that makes people feel drawn to you, such that they want to work with you, such that I like to think, not boast, by God's grace, I have a little bit of that kind of aura. And that's because of the way I like to present myself when I'm seeking opportunities. I like to set myself apart, and because of that, people try to pay attention to me. That is the spiritual currency. But that's not what we are here to talk about. Why is my phone being blown up? All right, awesome. So I said the goal for you in your first 5 years after school is to put as much value as possible in yourself, even if it does not yet translate into physical currency. I was just talking about an example of spiritual currency, which is like building relationships, being likable is a kind of currency, right? Let's not go into that. We have a long way to go. If I go into that, it will just keep going on and on and on and on and on. Right? So what's my next point? I guess this is all just intro, and I know you have like 30 minutes. I guess what I'm trying to get out of this teaching, because I've not even started teaching what I want to teach. What I'm trying to get out of this teaching is it's painful to watch when, let me use myself as an example. The current state of my life is such that I one day just sat and I thought about it, that if I didn't work as hard, or if I did not put as much effort as I did in the last 4 or 5 years of my life, if I did not go for the big goals that I wanted to go for in the last 4 or 5 years of my life, right now I would have to do things I don't want to do in order to be able to live a life that is not even up to what I'm living now. I'm not saying that with pride, I'm saying that with humility. Because sometimes I am so overwhelmed right now that sometimes I don't even, most people, I have friends that I'll be talking to and they're like, yeah, Samuel is a beast, he works hard, he works this, he works that. Secret is that sometimes I don't even feel like working. I'm too overwhelmed to work. I used to love copywriting a lot. Most of the time nowadays, I don't even feel like writing copy. It's too boring for me because nowadays, I think this might even turn to should I say, complaining rant. Nowadays, I can just be doing something, and then there's a little daddy. I said that lad yelling, or is he and his mom are quarreling over something, or I want to go and study or do something, and then he's following me, or I'm not complaining about my son. I love the guy, but I'm just saying the current reality of my life is such that if I did not build momentum way back, right? If I did not build momentum way back, if I was trying to just now start learning the skills that I have, start doing the things that I'm doing, I will be stagnated, right? So while you have the opportunity of a little bit of freedom, and the truth of the matter is, there are some things that I'm doing now that I know that will be valuable for me in the next 5 years. So I'm not saying that I have plateaued or anything. I'm just saying it gets more difficult. So I don't want you to live the next 10 years of your life just accepting the same thing that limits everybody because you wasted time planning to plan, because you wasted time complaining and not actually doing anything, because you wasted time. What's the other point that I made? Making excuses for why everybody's ahead of you instead of putting your head down and working, because you wasted time seeking validation of other people, right? So title of the teaching is Build or Drift, how to make the best out of the first 5 years. And why am I always forgetting my own titles? Now, shall write down Build or Drift, how to make the best of the first 5 years of yours. Hey, Jesus Christ, this is embarrassing. How to make the best use of your first 5 years after school, right? So I said build or drift. So who is a builder and who is a drifter? A builder is someone who draws up a plan, puts necessary resources in place to get it done. Everything a builder does turns into assets and leverage. I did not say turns into money. I don't want to talk about it here because I'm going to talk about it later. But part of the problems is it is important. Money is a good way to track, right? But like I said, there's physical currency and there's unseen currency. We'll get to that later. Let me repeat myself. A builder is someone who draws up a plan, puts all necessary resources in place to get it done, and everything a builder does turns into assets and leverage. Assets, something that you acquire. Leverage, something that you can use to acquire something that is even bigger. Who is a drifter? A drifter is somebody that is working on nothing. They are working on nothing. They are working on everything. They are working with everyone. They are working everywhere, or they're not even doing anything at all. A drifter does just enough to get by. They never do enough to get leverage. And you can hand a drifter leverage and they will trash it. What do I mean? A drifter is, let me just read it out again. A drifter is somebody that is working on nothing, working on everything, working with everyone, working everywhere, or working on nothing at all. A drifter does just enough to get by, never enough to get leverage, and you can hand a drifter leverage and they will just trash it. What do I mean? And I've seen this play out a lot. I don't want to, I'm jumping the gun a lot. I'm trying to keep this in a certain flow. But I've seen this. It goes back to validation, right? You finish school. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to get a job, right? Once you get a job and you can successfully tell your friends that you now have a job, or you're now working at UBA, or you're now working at this, or you're now working at that, you're now working at that. You just park and you stop growing. And you expect that the next 5-10 years of your life is going to be automatic growth. You do not wait, you do not strive for more or to do more until one of two things happen. Until fuel gets more costly or transportation gets more costly, and now you realize that your salary is no longer enough for you. so you are grinding for more, or a life update. Maybe you get married, maybe you have a kid, maybe this, maybe that. You wait for something external to push you to go forward. Sometimes people, and funny thing is, we all build and drift every now and then. Sometimes you're a builder, sometimes you're a drifter. What matters is, where do you stay most of the time? Are you mostly on drift mode? Some people do just enough to be validated by every other person. As long as nobody can insult them that they are not trying, right? They're okay. I have a job, you see me working, and guess what? They do just enough to seek the validation of others, to get into the room where they can complain about how everything is bad. I have a job, I'm working hard, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, but the country is bad, it's their fault I'm not rich. No, there's no country in the world whose job is to make you rich. There's absolutely no country in the world. You can say, I want to jackpot to Canada, even I want to leave Nigeria. I'm not saying you should not leave. Everybody can leave if they want. Matter of fact, you don't know if me safe. Maybe I just carried all of my background and maybe I'm in Canada already right now, but I'm not in Canada, by the way. What I'm saying is, as someone I respect a lot will say, a lizard in Nigeria is not going to leave Nigeria and become a crocodile in another country, right? You will live a better life than you're living in Nigeria, but you'll still be a lizard by the standards of that country. I'll just leave it there. So back to building and drifting, right? We all build and we all drift, but most people tend to build enough just so that they can drift. I get to this level, I secure a job, I buy a new phone, I rent a new apartment. I'm looking for money for rent. All my mates are already buying cars. So I'm looking for money for car. Let me go and buy a car. They said, my mates, last time we did renewal, my mates said they bought plots in Modakeke. So I want to go and buy plots in Modakeke now. Then all of a sudden they get super creative. That's when all the ideas come and they act on it and they make all the money that they need to do that thing. Then they get that thing, then they just go back to drifting. Why? Because everything that has to do with building for them is outside motivated, not from the inside, not from who they are, not from a vision they have for themselves. Right. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to be sharing my own personal story. I know I've been yapping since, maybe some of you I've not even checked the chat since. I never even checked the chat since. I don't even know if anybody was listening to me. I was just yapping. Has anybody slept up? Wake up, it's story time. Anybody that has drifted off before? See, you people are drifting. You joined the live now, you drifted off. Okay. All right. So out of the first 5 years, you know what? Don't let me tell you my story first. Let me tell you some of my friends' stories. I think this guy's story is probably the most fascinating for me. Right? I'll tell you the story, then I'll try to distill it for you, the lessons that most people don't see about people that grow exceptionally. There's one of my friends. The best way for me to describe him is he's super young and he's currently the managing director of a company that most people his age should not be the managing director. He's probably, I haven't checked, but he's probably, I think he has said it before, he's probably the youngest managing director of a company like that in this city. When he and I were talking, he said when he finished NYSC, right? He finished NYSC, he came to Ibadan. No work, no job, whatever. Of course, he had done a lot of things in campus and all of that. So what was he thinking? What was his way out? He said what he would do, he had shirts and he had trousers, right? So he wear shirts, he wear trousers, he would use his tie. Then he would go to, what's the name of this place? I've forgotten the name. I think it's something informational technology, national information technology, something. I've forgotten what it is that they call it. Basically a government office, or is it parastatal they call it? It's like all these government special projects. He would just go in there, he knew somebody there, he would just sit at one of the desks and he would just be working. He'd be writing stuff because he did journalism, he'll be writing stuff, posting about it. But every day like clockwork, he did not have a job there. He didn't have a job. but it will go there with shirts, it will go there with tie, it will wear full corporate, it will go to the place. It's just like it's cutting in the office, right? He will go there every single day, Monday to Friday. He will leave work early in the morning, resume there, and he will not leave there till 5 o'clock. And he was doing that for a year. Sometimes when those people when they want to write press releases and stuff like that, since he is there, proximity, since he is there, they just give it to him. They'll correct him on what they need. He'll get it done, and sooner or later he got better at it. While he was there, he connected with somebody that he didn't even know was someone that knew someone that is super important in this country, a minister in this country. Now, this minister wanted to start his own business, and he was looking for somebody that he can trust, somebody that is in the city, and somebody that, they can just refer to him. You see, the biggest opportunities in this life, actually, they don't make it to the papers, or they don't make it to social media, or they don't make it to anywhere it is that you are, any WhatsApp group that you are looking for work or looking for. The biggest opportunities usually come by, I need so thing done. Do you know anybody? Long story short, and this is a project of hundreds of millions of naira. That day, he was just at the office. The minister came into the office. Hey, well, I need somebody like this, so and so. They were just discussing. Then that guy said, there's this guy over here that is always at our office. He's been working with me for a year. He's been this, I've given him this project, I've given him that project, I've given him this, I've given him that. I think he can do it. Take notes. He has never done anything like this before. Now, I'm trying to code it as much as possible because I didn't ask his permission to tell the story, but I'll just say he's a managing director of a radio station. So this minister wanted to start a radio station. And here he is just showing up with suit and tie to a job that he didn't have diligently for over a year. And now somebody is referring him as somebody that is capable to run an organization, a type of organization he's never run before. And of course, they put him to test. And now this is the other thing, the other problem most people face. When somebody wants to give you a chance, most people one thing I've noticed about people that come to me for advice or come to people that I know for advice and people that I know are now complaining to me is, I keep looking for a better way to say this or another way to say this, but there's no nice way to say it. People are just too scared to look stupid, right? And you can't do anything great. You can't do anything that will change your life without the fear, without the risk of looking stupid. Long story short, it's been about 3, maybe 4 years, maybe more. And now this guy has taken that radio station to one of the top ones in the city. Something he's never done before. Of course, he has interned in stations before and all of that. But what gives him the audacity to think he can run that? And now, because of that, he has the kind of connection that most people his age doesn't have. He has ministers on his contact list. He has people that will be talking about somebody that is, I don't know, a top guy in the country. He'll be like, yeah, I know him, he's my friend. I have his number. Yeah. And I'll literally see that he has this person's contact. How did that come about? A jobless guy. Sometimes when you read stories, right, of somebody saying they started, I know people tend to overdo things or oversay things or overemphasize things or blow things out of proportion. And because of that, a lot of people are not trusting of stories like this. But these things happen. When you hear these things, you think it's just one motivational speaker just trying to motivate you. Me, I'm not trying to motivate you. If you like, motivate. If you like, don't motivate. I'm telling you somebody's story, somebody that I know personally. Someone that I know personally. A jobless guy wearing suit and tie every day to a job that he didn't have, showing up to where they would take him, getting anything that was thrown to him, and eventually having an opportunity that most people his age could not dream of having. People will have to work 10, 20 years or even more to get that kind of opportunity. Now, you might say he's lucky. Remember what I said, part of the reasons why you are denied or you deny yourself. You envy other people and you secretly feel like they were lucky, or you make excuses for why they got the opportunities that they got, just to excuse yourself for being lazy, or excuse yourself for not trying the things you want to try and giving yourself more excuses to just sit stagnant in one place. Let me drink my water in peace. These things happen. These things can happen for you, but will not happen if you follow the path that everybody else follows. And the path that most people follow is they complain. And what they see is more of what they complain about. That guy could have sat down in his house. And by the way, nobody was sending him away from home. He was staying at I think he said he was staying with his uncle or something. A good place. He could have sat at home, he could have been doing whatever, he could have just, I don't know, there are a million options that he had, but he was just going somewhere. He was just going somewhere. I'll tell you another story. I brought this guy to this podcast before. Do we call this a podcast? To these live sessions before. Eben, right? So he was telling me about how he got one of the jobs that he got. His first big break before his last big break, before the last big break, because I've seen this guy jump exponentially many times. He said he was in Ibadan, living the good life by Ibadan standards, right? He was doing designs, people were giving him projects for printing stuff and all of that. But then one of his mentors wanted to leave an agency in Lagos, right? Man, it's almost 9 o'clock. I'll just make 3 or 4 more points, then we'll wrap it up and continue. I think on Sunday, if I have the time. So one of his mentors or somebody that taught him wanted to leave an agency, then they recommended him, right? But up until that point, what he has been doing is like church flyers. What he has been doing is like Arike Prioda. I can't believe I said that. Arike Prioda wants to do something for our WhatsApp status. They want to do one event at so and so. Those are the things he has been doing, right? But now he's going to be working on briefs from businesses like Milo, MTN, and all of that. So they called him, okay, someone has referred you, come and do the interview, right? Let's just see what you got. Then he gave him a brief, go in and go and do it. He said he had never done anything like that before, but he gave it his best shot, right? He gave it his best shot. Then they went inside, they went to consider it. Then they called him in. And they're like, yeah, how did you do? They were trying to understand the things that he has done before. Then what's your experience like? What brands have you worked on? What this have you done? The regular questions that people would normally ask. And to be honest, he wasn't qualified based on the standards that they wanted, right? And they were looking at the job and they were like, it's like, I know this guy recommended you, but we're not super sure about you, right? And then he could sense that, what's it called? He could sense that hesitation in them. And you know what my friend said? Let me try and make it dramatic. He said he sat down and he said, Ma, I understand that what you're seeing right now is something that, is probably not to the standard of what you're looking at. The truth of the matter is, all I've ever worked on in my life is Arike Prioda and people that are taking orders on WhatsApp and this and that and whatnot. But would you agree that what I've shown you is at least a far cry from that? Like, you can see that there's some sort of improvement. I've never worked on anything like this before. But when he gave me that task, I went to do research and this is what I was able to come up with. I am not perfect right now, but I know one thing for sure. Any task you give me, I am going to go back and I am going to do my best to deliver the best to you. This is not my best. He spoke up for himself, right? He spoke up for himself that, okay, you know what? This is who I am. I am not where you want me to be yet, but you can see from my attitude that I am going to get there. You understand? And then they said, okay, you should leave the room. And eventually they hired him, right? Now, I just gave you 2 stories. I'm not sure I'm going to touch on my own. Maybe I'll touch on that on the next session. I just gave you 2 stories. That seems like it's something from the movies or something from books or something that is not what most people do. But it's the truth, it's the 100% truth. These are examples of people that are trying to build something with their life and are not afraid to confront it. The typical person in Eben's situation would just sit back, relax. Oh, they didn't give me. And guess what? What are they going to do after that? They are going to go back to all their friends to talk about how there are no jobs in Nigeria, to talk about how people are rude, to talk about how there are no opportunities, to talk about this, to talk about that, and never actually take the next step that would help them to improve their life. So let me tell you some things you may not be seeing from the stories, right? The biggest lie that you tell yourself is that you don't have enough to get started or to move forward. It might not be enough to do it all, but it is enough for you to step forward. I'll say it again. The biggest lie that you're going to tell yourself is that you don't have enough to get started or to move forward. It might not be enough to do it all, but it is enough to move forward. My friend that I was telling you about, that is the managing director of a radio station, he did not have enough to ever become a managing director, but he had enough to wear a suit and tie, show up at a, I'd not say you should not go and show up to where they will beat you. Let's just put that out there. Show up at a particular place every day, every time, for month after month, week after week, and over a year before he got an opportunity to work with a minister in the country. The biggest lie that you are telling yourself is that you don't have enough to get started or to move forward. It might not be enough to do it all, but it is enough to move forward. You have a lot in your hands, but it remains small because you don't see it as a lot. You have a lot in your hands, you have a lot of resources, but it remains small because you don't see it as a lot. You know, this thing I just told you is one of my biggest problems. I still face it today. I try to tell you guys the truth. Right? And that is why nowadays I try to receive compliments. When people are like, guy, you speak this, yeah, thank you so much. Most are like, nah, not a big deal. Nowadays I say, yeah, I know. Sometimes you have to take the identity of who you are. It's not pride. Pride means you're overestimating yourself. They're giving you the right estimate of yourself, accept it. You have a lot, but because you don't see it as a lot, that thing remains small. Right? If you have a seed and you just see it as a tiny thing, it will remain a tiny thing if you don't see it as enough for you to plant, for it to grow into something big. Right? The next thing is money is never your problem. Money is never your problem. A money problem is a symptom, it's not a root cause. The excuse most people give, especially after leaving school, is I don't have the money to go to the events I want to go to. I don't have the money to pay for the mentorship I want to pay for. I don't have the money for this. I don't have the money for that. My laptop has spoiled. I don't have the money for it. I don't have the this. I don't have the that. La 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 la. Yeah, I have story for days. How about my friend AJ, who got a gig? Okay, I don't want to say he didn't have a laptop, but I know that because of the way he presented himself, he had some limitations. And the person said, you know what, I will solve those limitations. I'll send you the full package. I'll send you the laptop. I'll send you this. I'll send you that, just to make sure you get started. Even after he left the job, they still left the laptop with him. These things happen, but most people don't talk about it. Matter of fact, the reason why I know these stories is because I'm not one of the people that will just get to somewhere and continue to complain. When you are a perpetual complainer, people that are winning will not share their wins with you because it will hurt you. They will consider your feelings because you can't see what they're saying. And if they say it, it's not relatable to you. If they say it, you think they are pompous, but they are telling you their real life. They are telling you their real life, right? So money is not a money problem is not a symptom. It is a root, and a money's problem is a symptom, not the root cause. If you don't have the resources, you need to build. If you don't have the resources you need to build what you want to build, the problems you have is either number one, a value problem, a relationship problem, a perception problem, or a perspective problem. I'll say it again. If you don't have the resources to build what you want to build, and by building what you want to build, it could be your career, it could be your business, it could be whatever you want to build. If you don't have the resources, aka money or whatever, that you need to build what you want to build, it is not a money problem. I say the money problem is only a symptom of the root cause. And the root cause is either a value problem, a relationship problem, a perspective problem, or a perception problem. I'll start with the value problem. Value is about what you have and what you think you can do with it. Remember the last point I said, you have a lot, but that thing is not going to be a lot to you because you don't see it as a lot. You have a lot, but that thing remains small because you don't see it as a lot. So it's not only about what you have, it's what you think you can do about it. You see, value is not value if you don't think it is value. If you put an iPhone 17 Pro Max in the hands of a caveman, He will either use it as a mirror. That's it. He won't even turn it on. He'll just use the reflection as a mirror, or he use it to be killing ants in his cave, right? Or you can even say it is the glass of the gods or something. So it's not only about what you have, it's what you think you can do about it, do with it. Most of the time, again, I've said it earlier, it's not what no, I didn't say that. I said all you can do is all you can do, all you can do is enough, but just make sure you do all you can do. But there's something else I wanted to say, which is it's not what you don't have that limits you. It's what you have but don't know how to use. What you don't have is what you don't have. That is not your limitation, right? Your true limitation is in the resources that is in your hand that you cannot use to produce something because we don't have the knowledge for it or you don't have the right perspective. That is the actual waste. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So you have a value problem either because you're not carrying something that you've not spent the time to build the capacity to carry something that is valuable, or you think that thing that you have, no matter how small it is, you think it is nothing, and so you do nothing with it. I said it could be a value problem, a relationship problem, a perspective problem, or a perception problem. And this is where we're going to wrap up. We'll pick it up likely on Sunday, if I can get permission from management. A relationship problem. Relationship problem is who you have access to and how you can relate with them. Who you have access to, how you can relate with them. It's not everything that you need in this world that money is going to solve for you. It's not even everything. Even if you don't have the money, there are some things that you get access to. I said I'm still going to tell my story and I'll tell it in the next class. My first break-free gig, right? How much was I getting paid then? Was it 800? I think 800 USD. I'm not sure. I was still working a 70K per month job at the gym. And then I got this $800 per month job. You can imagine how wild it was. I put it to you, I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have a good laptop. For the first month on that job, the laptop I was using was my colleague at work's laptop. Tola, God bless you. You're in Australia now, but God bless you in Australia. I borrowed a laptop for a month to get that. In fact, the test job plus the actual job was with somebody else's laptop. Of course, it wasn't that same day that I just went there to say, come and give me your laptop. It was based on the kind of relationship we had, the kind of, should I say, how we related with each other, and the fact that she knew that I really needed help. And she wasn't using it and she was able to do it. And that's the most simplistic idea, the most simple example I can give you. You see why I say you don't have a money problem? That is just the root cause. One way or the other, out of all these things I'm going to list, you'll see what it is that you have or what it is that you're missing. I've talked about value problem. Now I'm talking about relationship problem. Now I'm talking about perspective problem. Perspective problem has to do with three things. Perspective is about where you're standing, how far you want to see, and what you choose to focus on. I'm thinking of a way to relate it, make it relatable for you. The perspective problem, you know what perspective means? Perspective basically means, the direction through which or how you are looking at something. Now, how high you are standing, sometimes you have to stand on the shoulder of other people for you to be able to see far, which means sometimes it still goes back to help. Sometimes you need mentors, you need people that can point you in the right direction. Right? Sometimes you can't see a picture. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. Sometimes you need somebody that has passed that thing, passed through that thing to bring you up and say, hey, look at this new perspective. This is how it's supposed to be. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you have to talk to the person one-on-one. Sometimes it's just listening to them. Sometimes it's reading their books. Sometimes it's just paying attention. It's something that blessed me when somebody said it a lot. It blessed me a lot when somebody said it. He said, mentorship is more caught than taught, right? Most people that do amazing things do not have the time to sit down to think about how they do it, right? So sometimes what they say is watered down by how they themselves don't understand how it is done. They instinctively do it and they continue to do it. Or They dial it down because of how much work they know it takes, and they wonder if you're able to do it too. So mentorship is actually more caught than taught, which means you have to watch closely. You have to look at those people. You have to continue to watch what they do. You have to continue to copy and model after what they do. This thing I'm doing every Sunday, I am modeling after someone. My team knows the person. I've only had a conversation with the person once. Before I had the conversation with the person, I had already started this modeling after them. I am standing on the shoulder of a giant to give me a new perspective. It removes certain things out of my way. The second thing about perspective is how far you want to see. I can bring somebody. That's why I said sometimes you can give a drifter leverage and they'll still trash it, right? You can be getting the advice from the person that is the best in the world at something, but if you don't want to see that far, you're not going to get that far. If your own desire is not to get that far, you're not going to see that far, you're not going to get that far. I don't see how else I'm going to explain that. I'll just leave it at that. And then what you choose to focus on. When you get to high altitude, there's a lot you can see, right? When you get a new perspective, when you get the right perspective, there's a lot you can see, and you can be overwhelmed by that. The more you know you don't know. You can be overwhelmed by all these things that, what I'm saying is what I'm just picturing in my mind was the last time that I went to Olumorok, and now I could just see everything on the horizon. That's how it's going to be, right? When you have a perspective shift, now your mind is open to a whole world of possibilities. And now the question is, what are you going to choose to focus on? We've talked about the value problem. I talked about how it is about what you have and what you think you can do with it. I've talked about the relationship problem, which is who you have access to and how you relate to them. Now I've talked about the perspective problem, which is where you're standing, how far you want to see, and what you choose to focus on. And the last one, and maybe the most important, is a perception problem. Perception has to do with what do people think when they meet you or your work? What do people think when they meet you or your work? People can be biased, but you can still control that to some extent. Remember what I said, all you can do is all you can do. All you can do is enough. Just make sure you do all that you can do. While I was still looking for jobs in Nigeria and whatnot, I never showed up for an interview. I always showed up to take the job. Doesn't mean I got all the jobs, but I got a good amount of them. I'll say it again. I never showed up for an interview. I showed up to get the job or to do the job because I always came. I just knew that it would be better for me to show you what I can do than tell you what I have done. What I have done is for other people. What I can do is me giving you a picture of what it would look like working with me. Now you don't have to guess, you can see it. Then when I was doing social media work, if I'm coming for it, matter of fact, there was time that I turned down, like I was hearing people say, there's no job, there's no job, there's no job. I had to turn down a certain offer, right? Because I had already picked something else. Even though now I think that was stupid, I probably could have done both, right? But whatever. Because I always used to go to take the job, not to interview for the job. So when I come to you, other people are here with their CV saying, I've posted 70 times for this person. I grew somebody's this one from this to that. All of that is fascinating, but what can you do for me? I don't know what it is like now, but what I'll do is I would always go there. I'll create what's it called? I'll create a dummy, a fake, not fake, an actual Instagram account in there. And I actually had one, but I used to change the name anyhow. I think at that time you can still change the name. So it depends on who I want to go and apply for. I just change the name or to something similar to their name, right? And then I'll now make like 6 posts. Nobody was following the account, so I'll just make 6 posts just to show them what it's going to look like. Then I'll present it. I'll come with my laptop. People were coming with their folder and CV. I will come with my laptop. The moment I enter the place and I introduce myself and I'm opening a laptop that I want to show you something, what do you think their perception is of me? This guy is more ready than other people. That is just one example, right? The perception that people have of you can solve your money problems. Sometimes you are just as good as most of the people that are making more money than you or that have more resources than you. But the perception people have of you will determine the kind of resources they put in your hands. I was watching something, and you people might not agree with this, but I totally understood the guy. The Classified podcast. It went viral this weekend or this week because people were talking about it a lot. This guy was talking about wealth and whatnot. If you watch the podcast, most people don't watch long stuff, they just watch clips. He was talking about how there was a time that he was wondering that is it weird that he gave one of his friends a birthday gift, and the amount he gave his friend was a lot more money than he had ever given his own mother, right? But when he thinks about it, what does his mom really need? His mom just wants to eat. His mom just wants to buy clothes. His mom just wants to this. Just basic stuff. She doesn't need that kind of money. Your sentimental heart might not want to swallow this bitter pill, but that is just the truth. Doesn't mean I love that person. Doesn't mean he loves that person more than his mom. But the truth of the matter is, the mom probably just doesn't need that much money. But this person, he knows the vision that they have. He knows what they're moving with. He knows what they're doing. He knows the things that they're striving at. He knows the level they're operating at, right? And he knows that this thing is not going to cause any kind of troubles for them. Matter of fact, it might not even be enough. And most importantly, even though most people don't like to admit this, he knows that if I give to this person, the way the person could probably, he didn't say this, but I'm just guessing, the way the person could probably reciprocate, or maybe not reciprocate, this is a friendship I want to invest a lot into, so let me do this. Doesn't mean he doesn't love his mom, but, you know, value goes to where value should go. Does not mean now that, let's say that person was sick and his mom was sick, he would not spend more on his mom than the person. But you know, all these things, all these minute details, sentiments don't allow people to be honest about this. But these things happen, right? You can come now with all the passion, you should be sweating, you should be this, and you be pitching for something, and you tie your tie, reach your neck like this. And people will say, cool, we'll reach you back. And one person sits down on a chair like I am, and because of their Shelby cap and the way they've presented it in a cool, calm, and collected way, and they've painted the person a good picture of what things will look like, they choose that person because of the perception that they have of that person. The resources that comes to you from people. Let me put it this way: the last person that helped you at the level that they think that you needed it, not at the level of what they could do. I'll say it again: the last person that helped you out helped you at the level of what they think you could handle or what they think you needed. That's how I said it the first time. Sometimes I just make these things up and I forget. The last person that helped you at the level of the capacity they think you had, not at the level of the capacity they had to help. Right? So, and the funny thing is, it's always going to be like this throughout the rest of your life. If you are stuck on resources, to the degree that I have observed it, these are usually the issues. It is usually a value issue, a relationship problem, a perspective problem, or a perception problem. Right? So I'm just going to wrap it up here, guys, even though it's a little bit of an abrupt end, but it's already past 9 and I try not to keep it longer than that so that we can keep it as smooth, short as possible. I am playing with the idea of also going live on Sunday. If you like us to go live on Sunday, you can just put a thumbs up on the chat. If you're not a part of the WhatsApp community, dear live, you can please post it on YouTube, or Jennifer, if you can. I would appreciate it so I can put it up. If you're not part of the WhatsApp community, and why is my wife saying touche? I mean, I don't used to help you. Let me just say it out in public. I don't used to help you based on my perception of. I used to help you with all my heart. Please, let's move so I don't get in trouble. Anyway, what was I saying? So if you're not on the WhatsApp channel, I suggest that you actually join, because that's how you keep track of everything that we're doing here. And going forward, we're going to be doing Q&As and whatnot, and all more engagement on those channels. So I advise that you actually join there. Oh, the lights finally went off. Thank you for letting us finish before it went off. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been good. It's been great. chatting with you. And also, yeah, just in case you don't know, if you're new here, we do Q&A sessions after every series. So you should also look forward to that. You could only, Sunday, please, Mr. Shelby. We'll see if management approves. All right. Until next time on your not yet award-winning Samuel Kukumo live experience, I am your humble host, the Samuel Kukumo himself. See you on Sunday, maybe, or next Friday. Do take care. Or next Sunday. I'll let you guys know in the WhatsApp channel. Goodbye.